Welcome, everyone. My name is Sunny Bakama, and I'm one of Allan Hancock College's part-time faculty librarians. Today, you're going to be learning about how to perform effective research in one of the databases Allan Hancock College Library subscribes to, called JStor. It contains scholarly journals covering literature, humanities, science, and the arts. So we're obviously on the college's website. So to get to the library page, you would have to select library at the top of the page. And, please be sure to explore all of the library's web pages in your own time, as they provide a wealth of very helpful information. So to get to JStor, you would have to scroll down the page, and under the research heading, you would select articles and resources. So this page contains many databases which have thousands of articles, government documents, ebooks, etc. JStor is located under the General Article Databases. And by the way, I just wanted to let you know that you can access any of these resources off campus 24/7. And to be able to access them off campus for a majority, you'd have to be logged in with your My Hancock username and password. So JStor is located right here. So as pointed out in JStor's article titled An Introduction to Searching on JStor, like a lot of other databases, on the home screen, you'll see JStor's basic or general search. It has a focus on that, as you can see here. It allows users to search for both text and images, okay? So that's the images option. You can enter keywords, keyword phrases, authors and/or titles. No special formatting is required. However, when searching for exact phrases, you should use quotation marks. The basic search also allows you to enter Boolean operators and, or, and not. For example, I'm going to enter my topic, which will be bullying. And that's a Boolean operator. High schools. Notice I'm using quotation marks around high schools, so they'll be recognised as one term, not as two separate terms, high schools. On a side note, you'll notice all of these things coming up here on a drop-down menu, sorry. And this encourages users to refine their results. This is an excellent feature for when you're using common synonyms. And getting back to the Boolean operators, my results will be retrieving articles that include both of my keywords, so bullying and high schools. On the other hand, if I entered bullying or high schools, my results would be articles that either contain the keywords bullying or high schools, or both keywords. And if I entered bullying, not high schools, I would be retrieving articles that contain the keyword bullying, but not high schools. So I'm going to perform an all content search now using bullying and high schools. And as you can see, we have 1,525 results, which is obviously a large amount. However, fortunately, like many other databases, JStor allows you to refine your results. And as you can see on the left of the screen, here we have refined results. And there's also a sort by option here. You can sort by relevance. That's what it is at the moment, newest, oldest. So I'm going to refine my results a bit. I'm only interested in retrieving journal articles, so I'll select journals. So you'll notice less results up here. And I'm only interested in articles from approximately the last 8 years. So I'll enter from 2014 to 2022. And by the way, CE, that stands for Common or Current Era. There's also the option of BCE, which stands for Before Common Era, but we're going to leave it on CE. So I'll select Apply. So there's a lot less results now, 293 results. Also, notice the access types default is content I can access, which is the content that Allen Hancock College subscribes to. If you selected all content, you would also get some abstracts of articles. So this article here looks interesting to me, How You Bully a Girl. Notice the features on the right of the article. It says download, save, cite. So those features, as well as others, are present when you select the article. So I'll select it. So we have these tools on the left of the article. This is content metadata. So it gives information about the article. There's also cite. So it provides the citations for this particular article if you were going to use that in a paper. But please, if you copy and paste one of these to your works cited or references, etc. list, please do check it for accuracy, first of all. There are also thumbnails here, which shows the different pages in the article. And here we have references of the article. You can also share through these different ways: Facebook, Twitter, email, save and download. I'll show you the download feature. So you would select accept and download. And in order to save and organize sources and notes in JStor's workspace, you can log in or register. So I'm going to select save because I want to save this particular article to my workspace in JStor. So now I'm going to log into my JStor account. And there's the details for registering if you needed to do that. So I'll select workspace. Okay, you saw how I selected workspace quickly there. And by the way, it's also located under your name, which you can access once you've registered. And workspace is also located under tools. So as you can see, the article is in my workspace. I'm going to create a folder for it now. And I'm going to name it Bullying Essay. As you can see, there are different tools here. I'm now going to move the actual article into the folder. So I'll select Move. And then I'll select Bullying Essay, that's my folder. Move. So now the article is in the actual folder. So I'll select the folder. And there's the article. So if you have, more than one item in your folder, you could sort them through these different options. And list and gallery are the different ways you can have your items set out. It's currently in a list view. So if I selected gallery, that's what it would look like. So here are some other tools. You can add notes. You can cite the item. And you can delete. I wanted to show you some other things. So I'll just select the JStor logo. The JStor article I mentioned previously also points out that the basic search bar allows you to use the codes for author, title, and journal. So I'll show you those actual codes. I'll just stop the share and I'll share a PDF with you. Okay, so you can use these different codes. So for author, it would be AU search term in quotation marks, title TI search term, journal JO search term. Okay. So I'll just stop the share for this screen. Okay, so I'll give you an example of what I just showed you. So for a journal, so I'll enter JO, '19th century literature. Then I'm going to select the magnifying glass. And we have 2003 results, all to do with that journal, 19th century literature. And, we once again have the refine your results features. I'm going to search within the results. or Louisa May Alcott, who's an author. Notice I'm using the quotation marks, so her full name is recognised as one. So now we only have 39 results, which is a much more manageable number, and it's a focused search. Now, I would like to show you the advanced search. So it's located here, and it's also located here under the search heading. It's set up in a similar way to other databases. For example, we have here all fields. So you can select these search options. And by the way, abstract, that searches for your terms in abstracts only. And abstracts are summaries of documents. There's caption, and that will search for your phrase in the captions beneath photos. And this is especially helpful in art journals if you're looking for a particular painting, for instance. There are also Boolean operators, which I mentioned before, and or not, as well as near. There's near 5, 10, 25. The near operator looks for the combinations of keywords within 5, 10, or 25 words of each other. And the near operator only works when searching for single keyword combinations. For instance, Boolean near 25 and then scores. There are more fields below the search bars as well. So unlike the basic search, advanced search enables you to select them before selecting search. And actually, I wanted to tell you that in the article in Introduction to Searching on JStor, it states that there is a 200 character limit for search terms in the advanced search, which includes spaces. So I'm going to perform an example search in the advanced search now. Bullying. And then I'll select near 25 schools. And then I'm going to narrow my search by articles. And then for the publication date, 2014 to 2022. And then I'll select education for the journal filter. And then I'll select submit advanced search. So I have 244 results, and every article that has been retrieved have my keywords schooling and schools within 25 words of each other, as well as the other search options I selected. Next, I want to show you the image search. So I'll select images, and actually it's also located under the search heading here. Sorry about that. So images enables you to perform your own search or browse by classifications or geography. So we have it on classifications at the moment. Here's the geography option too. I'm going to try one of the example searches here. I'll select Gothic architecture. Keep in mind that you can refine your results by the options on the left once again. And I think I'll select this very detailed lock. So we have some information about it to the right. And then obviously here's the image. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can move around to have a look at the different details. This is fit to view. And you can compare it to other images in the database. So I'll select compare. And I'll compare it to this one. Then you select compare here. I'll just cross out of that one. Another feature of JStor that I would like to show you is the text analyzer, and that's located under the tools. Text analyzer analyzes whatever document you upload. It's very helpful for exploring a new topic and for finding better search terms you may not have thought of. In general, longer text documents will produce better results. So I'm going to select the link, select files from your computer. I'm going to actually select the article we were looking at the beginning of this workshop, How You Bully a Girl. Uploading an assignment description would also obviously be very useful. If the file type you're using isn't supported, a lot are though, just cut and paste an image or any amount of text into the search box to analyse it. So here we have the results, and you can adjust these results actually. So under analysis, prioritized terms, I'm going to actually increase bullying. And under identify terms, I'm going to select high school students. And I'm going to change the publication year to 2014 to 2022. And then I'm going to select articles. So that's all been updated there. And here are my list of results. JStor also enables you to browse by subject, by title, collections, publisher, images. So I'll show you each of those. We'll start with by subject. I'll show you one of the featured subjects, security studies. So you could obviously perform a search in the provided search bar and or select either of the two options below the search bar. I'll briefly show you these pages. So this is a guide that's been created by JStor, showing you the best resources for security studies. This is also JStor Security Studies thematic collection. So I'm going to enter some keywords here. I'm interested in drug trafficking. Notice I've once again used quotation marks. There seems to be an error. I'll try it again. Sorry about that. Sometimes that can happen. Occasionally there might be a glitch in the database, but if that worked, you would actually see a results page like you have seen with the advanced search and the basic search with different resources coming up to do with drug trafficking. Under the browse heading, we also have by title. And it allows you to browse by journals, books, and research reports. I'll leave it on journals and I'll just show you 19th century music. So notice it provides information about the journal. And I'll select 210s. And this entry under 2017. And I'll select Flowers Over the Abyss. So there we have this journal article. You can also browse by publishers. I'll select Association for Asian Performance. And they provide a website for that publisher. And here is the journal associated with that publisher, Asian Theatre Journal. So it obviously has the same setup as the other journal pages. You can also browse by collections. So here we have information under this heading, Discover New Avenues of Research. So under the heading collections here, you can select a contributor. And you can filter the list of collections in this search bar here. So here are some of the collections, and I think I'll select this one, 1939 Rhode Island Architecture Exhibition. So you can search for items in the search bar for this exhibition. So it describes it here, and these are items in the collection. Let's select this one, Amanda Greenhouse. You can also browse by images, which I showed you previously. In addition, we have the JStor Understanding series, which is located under Tools. And this is worth exploring. It allows you to select a text and a passage, then you'll see articles and chapters quoting that passage. You can search by title or author in the search bar. For instance, if I start typing, you already will see options here on the page. You can browse by featured titles, collection, as well as title, author, number of quotes. I'm going to select a feature title, I Have a Dream. So I'm going to select this passage, so 20. So here are 20 articles quoting the selected passage. So when these documents come up that quote the selected passage, you can select document's title, you can download the PDF and or save it. So this is a very useful feature that JStor has. Another thing I briefly wanted to show you are JStor's LibGuides, which are very helpful for learning about different topics to do with the database. So here are all the guides that JStor has created. I'll select this third result just as an example, art and art history resources on JStor. So here's the guide about that. Okay, I now have a segment in this workshop where you can test your skills. So I'll just stop the share of this screen. Okay, so here's a test your skills page. So if you have a chance, it would be useful to see if you can try out working through these questions on this page. And actually, I thought I would go through each one and give you examples of the types of answers that you should expect. And I'll just provide examples that I've provided recently in this workshop. So for this first question, using JStor's basic search option, perform a keyword search with a topic of your choice. Write down the keyword or keyword phrases you used. So for that one, we could use the example that I've used previously, bullying and high schools, for instance. So I'll show you that in the JStor search. Once again, I'll go over that. So I'll just stop the share here. And we'll return to JStor. So I'll enter bullying and high schools. So for question 2 of that worksheet, it said refine your results in at least 2 ways and list what you did. So I'm going to select journals. And under date, I'm going to also refine it from 2014 to 2022 and select apply. Okay. So that was question 2. Then it says write down the title and author of one relevant source you found on your topic. So I liked the look of How You Bully a Girl for my topic. And the author is Sarah A. Miller. And how you would check that it's relevant would be, you can, look at this little paragraph here. You could also actually select the article. And here we have an abstract which summarises the article or provides a passage from the article sometimes. Question 4, it says, using the same topic, select JStor's advanced search option and include keywords or keyword phrases in at least the first 2 search bars. Write down your search terms as well as any fields, Boolean operators, etc. you selected. So I'll go to the advanced search. Remember, you can find it here or under search. So I'll enter bullying near 25 schools. So that's my answer for question 4. And then 5, narrow your search in at least 2 ways and describe what you did. So I'll narrow my search by articles, publication dates of 2014 to 2022. And then I'll select education and submit advanced search. And question 5 is, write down the title and author of one relevant source you found on your topic. Make sure it's different to the first source you selected. So I'll have a look through these articles. And I think this one appeals to me. 11, fat bullying of girls in elementary and secondary schools, implications for teacher education. So that looks like it would be relevant to my topic. And that's by Hannah McNinch. So once again, to check for relevancy, you could look at that. And then you could also look at that. Okay. So I'm coming to the end of this workshop. If you need additional help at all in terms of JStor or any other type of informational assistance, just go to the library's homepage. So here are our current spring hours. So you're certainly welcome to visit either of the libraries in person. We also have our chat box, which that's really helpful. If you have any kind of informational question, you would enter it into the chat here. Or you can text the chat. This is the number here, 855-512-2275. There's more useful information under hours and location. And then if you select under expert research assistance, select Ask a Librarian. Here are current chat hours for the spring. And here are numbers for each of the libraries for Santa Maria and Lompoc. You could also submit a research question here. For a more detailed research consultation, if you, for instance, couldn't go into the library for in-person help, under research, you could select virtual research consultation. And they're offered to support your assignments that are tailored to meet your needs. You would need to contact us at least one day prior to the requested research consultation. Okay. And you would have to fill in this information here and select submit. You're also more than welcome to contact me directly under library staff. And then my name is Sunny Bakama. It's best to contact me through my email address. In addition, I'll just go back to JStor. Another way that you can get support with JStor is by selecting support. So you can search the Help Centre. You could select Help here. And here we have, there's a chat feature here that they have too. So that's really useful. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you found this workshop to be useful. I wish you all the best with your semester. Bye.